AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
It's wet. It's almost like a winter evening out there, something that we would see probably in January or February with temperatures that are in the 50s and low 60s. Extensive cloud cover, rainfall, Louisville, Mississippi, Vernon at Durham's Pharmacy, Columbus, Tupelo too. It's been a wet night. We've had batches of rain around. Tupelo, you are climbing up towards 2 inches of rain so far. We've got some steadier rain for you. The heaviest band now from Grenada to Houston to Amory, just north of Highway 82. Lesser amounts of rain currently down towards Louisville and Macon, south of Columbus, but we have another batch just about ready to come on in from central Mississippi. There's a flash flood warning down here near Brookhaven, and there's actually a tornado warning south of Jackson near Crystal Springs. Now, we don't anticipate anything like that, at least at this point, but we do anticipate more rain as we go throughout the course of the overnight hours. 2 to 4 to 8 inches of rain in the swath from Mississippi into Louisiana over the last 24 hours, all associated with a remnant low of what used to be Tropical Storm Beta. That is all going to be moving through our region over the next day, and that is why we have this 1 to 4 inch plus potential as we go throughout the next 24 hours, and that has given rise to this flood watch. So don't be surprised if you happen to see or encounter a little bit of flooding as we go throughout the next day or so with this rain around. Now, southeast of Columbus late tonight, tomorrow morning into the early afternoon hours, we cannot rule out an isolated strong storm, just an isolated threat, a level 1 threat. Wind and maybe a brief tornado, cannot rule it out. I wouldn't go to bed worrying about it at this point. This is a low wind threat, but we are just hedging. The primary threat is going to be the rainfall, but we mentioned this winter-like setup. We have cold, stable air now, the chilly rain falling. We have a warm front and the area of low pressure just off to our southwest, and that low is going to ride just up along and southeast of the Natchez Trace Parkway. So southeast of that low, south of this warm front, that's where the best chance for one of those spin-up tornadoes or gusty storms could be. To the north of it, most of our area will just stay in the stable air mass. Showers, maybe a strike of lightning, and you may hear some thunder, but there's just a brief window of opportunity for an isolated strong storm over the next 12 hours or so, especially across our southeastern counties. And all of that gets to be done, it would appear, by mid to late afternoon tomorrow. The clouds hang tough tomorrow night and Friday morning. It will be a gloomy start to our Friday. We are hopeful that we will start to thin out some of those clouds as we get into high school football. So highs tomorrow only in the 60s and 70s around the region. A pretty good chance for some rain and storms around, especially during the first chunk of the day. By the afternoon and evening, we start to say goodbye to the rain. Early next week, 2 fronts will usher in some much colder air by the end of next week. Probably the coolest air so far this season and the coolest air in months. And we may see some lows next week into the 40s. But the weekend, early next week, we are back into the 80s. Looking pretty good for this weekend. More of the show after the break.